My name is Dan Murray. I'll be moderating the discussion. I'd like to start out asking you some questions, just so our panel can understand who's in the audience. Then I'll share a few of my goals for the session. We'll introduce the panel and start in. So, in the audience, how many are affiliates themselves? Okay, so a little over half. How many are merchants? Good. We have some specific points we're gonna talk about related to you guys. Anyone here from the networks? Affiliate networks? And how about vendors? One vendor and agencies. Any agency folks? Okay. How many personally are using Twitter currently? So that's about half of the audience. How many are using MySpace? Maybe a quarter. Using LinkedIn currently? More than half. And using Facebook? Most in the room. How many are currently buying ads on Google? Google AdWords? More than half. Buying ads on Yahoo? Maybe third. MSN? Buying ads on MSN? 20%. And how many are currently buying ads on Facebook? 20%. For those buying ads on Facebook, how many are buying them CPC, the cost per click ads? And is anyone buying CPM-based ads on Facebook? Okay, no one doing that. How many here are Facebook employees?
We love you.
So by the way, there are quite a few Facebook employees here. They're going to be available afterwards to talk and answer individual questions. I think they'll be standing outside and also set up appointments if you guys want more in-depth information. Okay, just a few last questions. How many are spending at least $1,000 a month in online ads? At least $1,000 a month. How about $10,000 a month? Okay, maybe 10% of the audience. Anyone spending $100,000 a month? $1 million a month. Maybe just 2 people. Okay, so my goal with this session is really just to get the conversation started in the affiliate field related to Facebook advertising. It's a new system. We're hoping to share some information with you. If you're an affiliate, I'd encourage you to, and you haven't bought ads on Facebook, if you're thinking about it, just try it out. I'm an affiliate. I've been experimenting with the system for the last 6 months. I would encourage you in the next 2 weeks, set up an account and buy at least 1 ad on Facebook, just as an experiment to kind of broaden your business, try something new, check out the targeting. It is a fascinating system. It's fun to play with. It can be frustrating at times, and we'll get to some of those issues. But I'm hoping that you'll consider trying it out. And if you're a merchant, I'm hoping you'll learn something here to be able to discuss with your affiliates advertising on Facebook. You'll be able to answer questions, maybe set policies, whatever the case may be. So for our panel, for the group of the 4 of us, we have 3 affiliates and we have a Facebook employee. So I'll start, just do a short intro for our speakers, and then we'll start in. Alex Schultz, to my right, is responsible for all aspects of Facebook's outbound ROI based on internet marketing. So he's representing the Facebook viewpoint. If he can't answer a question, he's got colleagues here, that could get into more specifics afterwards if it's beyond the scope of the panel. Next to my right is Jeremy Shoemaker, aka Shoe Money. Jeremy's an e-commerce entrepreneur, blogger, and super affiliate. He blogs on shoemoney.com, and Shoe raised $10,000 for charity with an auction based on the T-shirt that he's wearing, and that money goes to breast cancer research. So thanks, Shoe Money, for doing that. And then on the end, we have Zach Johnson. Zach is a self-taught online entrepreneur. He shares his experiences in a blog called Inside the Secret Life of a Super Affiliate. So I think we're gonna kick it off with Alex from Facebook, kind of giving some prepared remarks, and then we'll go to Q&A from the podium here. We're going to open it up about midway through for questions. So I'd ask you to hold your questions till the midpoint, then we'll walk the microphones around. But we want to get a lot of audience interaction and get your questions answered. So, Alex, why don't you start us off?
Cool. Can I take the photos?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks, David. You guys are a really important community to us. This is the first time that we've ever attended an affiliate summit. It's only a year since we launched this product, and we're here because there are loads of people in this room, loads of people in this community spending hundreds of thousands of dollars together a day with us at the moment and having a lot of success. We want to give you guys the opportunity to have that success. Now, the main two reasons we're here is kind of eating our own dog food from what we tell big companies to do, and that is to share and learn and have a conversation with our customers. So we have an awesome group of Facebook employees here today. We have 7 of us. If you guys could just stand up for a second. They're over here. So these are the people that at the end of this session, if we don't answer the questions that you need answered, come and grab us after the session. We really want to answer those questions from you. So these are the guys to talk to. We also want to learn from you. We really value the feedback from our customers, and we've been taking videos of people, we've been talking to people. The meat market was amazing yesterday to talk to so many of you. We're going to take videos and feedback from this group to our team that leads the revenue product for the company, but also to our COO, to our management team, and even to our CEO, to really show them what we need to do to make this community successful. So we're taking this event very, very seriously. We want to be here for years to come, and we want to work with you guys to have you having as much success as possible on the Facebook site. So talking about what we've heard from you over the last day, especially at the meat market, there were 2 main questions that came up. Number 1, why is Facebook here? Which I hope most of the people in this room have got their heads around, but I'll give you a quick answer to that one. And then number 2, why do you make it so hard to spend money with you? So I was very scared doing this panel. There's a lot of stuff that we do that I know isn't popular, so I'm going to try and answer those questions and give you guys the chance to ask us, and we want to have the conversation. So the first question, why is Facebook here? I'm sure you're all aware of it, but those of you who aren't and haven't tried it, as Dan said, we have a PPC advertising system. At the moment, there are lots of affiliates active on that system. They make up a huge chunk of our revenue, driving hundreds of thousands of dollars of spend a day through the system because you guys are so successful when you get success. We have about 150 million active users globally. Now, when I say active, I mean active, using the site monthly. Half of them log in every single day. So we have a very, very active user base on the site globally, and about 1/3 of those users are in the US, 2/3 of the users are international. You can target with our ad system based on demographic. A really easy opportunity is to say, go for women aged 35 to 50 in the US who like running, and you'll find that we have millions of people active and available on the site. So any demographic you want to target, you can. We kind of look at what we offer as being demand generation direct response. So paid search is absolutely, it's direct response, it's demand fulfillment direct response. You're looking for a kettle, you search for a kettle, you buy a kettle, and the big decision is which of those 5 ads on the right-hand side and the 2 at the top do you want to actually pay for, do you want to actually buy that kettle from? On the Facebook site, you're browsing around the Facebook site, you may not be thinking that you want to look at, our favorite example is a company called Bonobos. You want to look at a new set of trousers that are in your college colors or whatever, but you see the ad on the side of the site, you think, yeah, that seems like a good idea, click and buy. So we're all about demand generation, direct response, and that's kind of how we look at it. So why do we make it so hard to spend money with us? There are 3 key points of feedback that you've been given us. The first point is ad review. Our ad review is inconsistent, and you'll submit one ad once and it'll get through, and another time it won't get through. So first thing is this community is awesome at scaling. You guys find an opportunity, you get in there, you scale it and you scale it and you scale it, and that's brilliant. We were surprised. I've been in affiliate marketing now for 10 years. I paid my way through college as a paid search, arbitrage affiliate, and SEO. I still have a big sort of affiliate business on the side, but it still caught me by surprise how quickly you guys took to our system and moved up. And honestly, we didn't staff up for it. We didn't have the team to support it. We've doubled our team supporting ad review in the last 3 months. We're on a good trajectory to do that again this year. And we are, I hope, compared to June this year, June last year, much, much better at the consistency. But absolutely, we are not perfect yet. We are aware we're screwing up, and we've heard it so loud and clear here. We're taking it back to the office, and it's top of our list of priorities for Don's group to deal with. Secondly, restrictive policies. We know that we have very, very restrictive policies on the site. For example, we don't allow ringtones. When ringtones were the area that affiliates had the earliest success, as Shu's got great experience of on the Facebook site. The reason that we don't allow these policies is the number one focus for Facebook is growth. User acquisition, getting more users active and using our site. My team that does internet marketing for Facebook is more than half focused on user growth and slightly less than half focused on advertiser acquisition for ad products. We are really focused on growing the site. We found that a lot of the ringtone stuff, although much of it is very, very genuine, there is a lot of low quality offers that are causing our users pain. And we were having thousands of complaints a day in the early days from users about the pain that they were getting, clicking on those ads and converting through. And we were seeing less activity on the site. So we are moving towards being quite restrictive on anything that harms our core business. And over time, what we hope to do is stabilize the business and then expand out to allow these business models back in with more oversight. But honestly, we are going to keep being restrictive when there are business models out there that we can't keep on top of that are harming our user experience, because that is the number one thing for Facebook long term. We want to win in social media, and to do that we need the biggest audience and the biggest user base. So the final point is support. It's hard to get support from Facebook. And so we've brought the group today. Sarah leads our account management team. We have Marissa and Yvonne. We've launched an account management team just in the last month to support this community. We have now got account managers for you guys to talk to. So if you need an account manager, talk to me, talk to the guys you saw earlier after the show. We will set you up with an account manager to talk to at Facebook. We heard it loud and clear. We've answered that one already, and we're working on those two other points that you've made to us. So what have we been seeing? What would we like to share with you guys? Honestly, there's a lot of black hat stuff happening on Facebook ads. And yes, we do see it. We know that there's IP cloaking, so that when our reviewers look at the landing page, they see one thing, other people see a different thing. We know there's mass submission happening across multiple credit cards that people are buying. We know that there are fake offers available for our users. And again, we got caught by surprise by all this. We didn't expect it to happen. We really didn't think about it. And none of us had really seen it at this scale before. So we're spending a lot of resources right now in finding ways to deal with it. Scaling up the review team, putting in new tools for quality, and that's burning a lot of valuable resources that could be put towards making this product better for you guys. And I personally have so many things I want to see Facebook do. I want us to launch an API. I want us to launch a bulk upload tool. I want us to launch some amazing products to support you guys making more revenue. But as long as we're in a position where every time we give more tools to the community, things are getting worse for our users, we're having to focus on that instead of focusing on the revenue generating stuff. And that sucks. So if you guys can partner with us and be the clean guy, that would be awesome. Over time, we're going to scale this thing up. There will be black hats forever, and we will have the fight that Yahoo and Google still have today and other companies have today. So we accept that. But if you're willing to be that clean person, that good affiliate who's making money in an above-the-board way, we really want to partner with you, and we want to grow this system to work well for you. If you can help us deal with the black hat stuff and understand it a bit better, we would also appreciate that. So the final point that I wanted to make, and Dan and I and a few of the other guys on the panel have chatted about this a tiny bit, is who here was advertising in paid search back in 2002, 2003? Awesome. Good guys. Well done on surviving this far. You must be doing very well by now. So that was when I personally made a lot of my money in the affiliate space doing pay-click arbitrage for eBay before I even joined them. It was an awesome time, but it was also a very challenging time. If you think about the fact that you used to, on Google, have to put the word affiliate in your ad or put AF in your ad, and then one day you go to the keyword iPod and you'd find 20 eBay results, and then Google changed the policies so that you only had one result per domain on the page. Yahoo made sure that you had to have an interstitial page. You couldn't do direct linking. Every single ad was reviewed in editorial. Bear in mind that our product is a year old, just. We're going through those same challenges, as are everyone in the social media PPC space, MySpace, MyAds too. There are a lot of challenges in dealing with scaling a system like this to hundreds of millions and even more, who knows, in revenue. And as such, we are, a little bit screwing up from time to time. We'd like you to bear with us, and we know that the opportunities that you guys in the audience who were here in 2002, 2003, working with the paid search engines and finding those opportunities, that new targeting allowed you to do, we know those opportunities are there. At the same sort of scale, you can do really successful things on the Facebook ads platform. So be the guy who finds the new thing to exploit, be the affiliate who finds the new opportunity to make millions, and you can be one of those guys who are still here 8 years on or 6 years on from when they made a lot of money originally in paid search. So we're really happy to be here. We want your feedback. I'm looking forward to this panel answering your questions. And if we don't answer your questions, there are 7 of us here, head of customer support for the whole company, head of account management, and head of inside sales, along with their team members. Awesome people. We really want to speak with you after this session if we don't answer your questions during the session. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Alex. Great opening comments to get us going and give us some of the Facebook perspective on things. So let's start out. I'll ask our affiliates first, kind of a background question for Shu and Zach. Give us some background on your use of Facebook as an affiliate. How long have you been using it? Briefly describe what you've tried and just sort of overall how's it going. So let's just start with some background.
So my experience with Facebook was somewhat frustrating. I think Alex touched on a lot of the issues on a national level. So we've mostly focused on local marketing with Facebook and done very, very well with it, with local. I kind of wrote a guide about even how to do it. We have extensive experience with a local dentist who we drive leads to off of Facebook. And Alex said an interesting thing about that affiliate marketers know how to scale. And I think that's a very nice way to say we really know how to exploit a market imbalance. And right now, I think there's a massive market imbalance on Facebook, especially on a local level. It's much like the pay-per-click stuff with the arbitrage stuff back in the day. There was a huge market imbalance at that time. And so I think while there's an educational curve for affiliates and also for Facebook team, if you can educate yourself and do things like that, I mean, I think like I said, there's a huge imbalance. I think there's a huge opportunity right now until the rest of the world gets caught up. And then it's so saturated like some of the other things.
So I encourage you to read Shu's blog entry on shoemoney.com about his local experiments. Very, very enlightening.
And while
Zach?
Shu covers the local markets, I pretty much go the opposite, and I go for other countries and mostly the majority of U.S. And I target towards niche markets, trying to find offers and building them around sports or other topics that people are heavily interested in, trying to get lower cost per click while getting higher click-through rates. So with both of us up here, we kind of have both sides of what people have options to target to. And I've been advertising on Facebook for about 9 months now.
So I've been on the system about 6 months. I've tried a bunch of CPA offers where I'm direct linking from Facebook to the merchant and just kind of still at the experimental stage. And I've experienced some of the same frustrations that Alex talked about in getting ads approved, the policies changing. But I've always thought of it as, AdWords, June 2002, we got on probably March of 2002, right after AdWords launched. And it's just like that. And so it's the Wild West. If you can deal with the flux and the challenges and the opportunity that Shu mentioned, might be a good a good potential. Some affiliates may want to wait till it settles out and then jump in, but maybe less opportunity at that point.
If you take what Zach said as well about the international stuff, we are seeing really cheap clicks internationally. For example, Italy's a really, really good example where the market kept up with the growth. We took off in Italy about 3 months ago, went into our exponential growth phase, and the market kept up with that growth for about a month and a half, 2 months, and then we reached the point that revenue sort of deviated from growth because we were just growing too quickly for the market to keep up. So that one country in particular is a really good example of where we have some really cheap clicks available right now, and if you know how to do good marketing in Italy, France, Chile, there are a few countries where you can really do extremely well by keeping an eye on when the growth is exploding and when the clicks are relatively cheap. So you can do well working with international. That's a really good point.
And how cheap is cheap?
Well, I mean, Italy's already a cheap market, so we're talking low tens of cents. Sometimes, you've told me examples where you've got down as low as 3 cents by going for a really highly targeted campaign that gets extremely good click-through rate. Like if you boost up the click-through rate, you can get very, very low CPCs because we deal with a CTR times CPC bid estimate to work out what you pay. So if you're doing a good job, you can get single cents CPCs out of us.
I did get 3 cents clicks, and I got high volumes of them, but I didn't make many sales, and I had to turn that one off. So another experiment.
Maybe that was why they were cheap.
Right. So Alex, could you talk about the various advertising options? We have the self-serve CPC. Is there also a CPM based? And just kind of tell us about the different flavors.
So we've got a few different ad products. You guys are obviously familiar with the self-serve tool at facebook.com/ads. You can go in there and you can buy that either on a CPC basis or a CPM basis. I saw everyone in the room is going CPC, and for this audience on a performance basis, you should all be going for CPC. We serve the ads based on an auction system, predicted CTR times CPC to give us the eCPM. If you bid at a CPM, you obviously have flat CPM, and that's good for some people looking to get just reach. But if you're looking to get high-value clicks, you should really be leaning towards CPC. If you guys have a higher budget, if you're trying to promote any kind of event, there are some other tools available. We have a homepage placement you may have seen. Great examples with Ben & Jerry's, promoting their free cone days, or Starbucks promoting, free Starbucks on the day of the election. New York Times has some other good examples too. So if you are promoting events in any way, we have some other tools on the homepage available and with viral distribution that can be very, very effective. But that's sold on a direct sales basis, usually CPM.
And Shu and Zach, are you guys both using CPC?
Yes.
Yeah,
That's all I've ever used.
That's what I'm using too. How about, this is for all the panelists, I think I'll start over with Zach. How is the Facebook advertising platform different from others in the marketplace? What do you see as the pros and cons of the Facebook experience from an advertiser perspective?
Well, one of the pros is once you do get something approved, you can get massive volume very quickly. A few of the cons is only being able to add campaigns one at a time, not having much flexibility, and usually not being able to get ads through. But I think after talking with Alex for over an hour yesterday, they're going to be working on a lot of improvements on the system because they know that the money's out there, and we all have basically a huge budget just waiting to be spent, but we can't spend it while offers are sitting there getting denied. So that's a big improvement that's going to be made to the system.
I think one of the phenomenal statistics that Alex said was that half the users on Facebook log in daily. These are real people that you're advertising to. These aren't. It's such an inner core community in Facebook, and you can so target that inner core, unlike on pretty much any other platform. And one of the major pros I really like about it, and I've only had it happen a couple times, but is when they come back and they say, we didn't like we don't like your ad, but here's an ad we do like, and you can just approve it and you're running. And I think you're really kind of pioneering that, and that's brilliant.
That's awesome. That's an enhancement we launched after feedback pretty much from this community, and really only 3 months ago that was live, guys, and it's only for a subset of when we disapprove, but you'll hopefully see more of that over time. If we disapprove you for grammatical errors or whatever, we'll fix it and give you the opportunity to accept.
I do typos every once in a while.
It's a good point. Things are changing fast. There's improvements. It'll be like you log in the next day and it's like, oh great, now I can resubmit the ad. I don't have to start from scratch. And so it is totally in flux. Things have probably changed since I've been on there last time. Okay, I wanted to walk through some of the specific aspects of the Facebook ad platform. Let our panelists, discuss their findings on them and just sort of how does it work? How's it different from others? I'll start with targeting capability. So anyone want to speak specifically to the targeting capability aspect of Facebook ads?
Sure. Basically, within Facebook, if you haven't used it already, you can take any interest or movie or celebrity or anything, and it'll grab out all the people that have an interest in that, and that gives you a superior amount of, the amount that you're going to be able to increase your conversions. If you can build a separate landing page or offer targeted to that, then you're going to increase your CTR so high that you're going to be ending up with really cheap clicks. So the capabilities of targeting that Facebook offers is superior over most of the other places. It's going to be a lot cheaper too.
Yeah, I think the targeting is something you're going to hear over and over about is what is the real bread and butter to the social network advertising. In my situation, we advertise, obviously to my local Lincoln, Nebraska area, whether it's for the local dentist, for instance, we target, we actually separate it out so we can, figure out which leads actually convert the best. But we target, women from ages 24 to 30 something. And basically because those are, a lot of times moms, so we try to, give them incentivized like a free teeth whitening, for a local dentist, something like that. Where they can come in and get that. And then they also, it leads to them booking. They're also the same people that book the rest of the family, right? So you can kind of target those people, really drill down to an income level to, I just love the targeting capabilities of the system. I think that's something that you'll hear time and time again. So.
All I'd add is they're genuine people. Facebook is built around making sure that the people on the system are genuine, and for the active users, you'll find fake accounts by the thousands. But for the active users, they are genuinely who they say they are, and we have the detail on who they are.
One thing I find interesting on targeting is for any demographic slice, if you say, okay, I'm going to target males 37 to 41 in the Pittsburgh area that are interested in Coldplay, it will tell you how many people fall into that bucket. So, you start out, it's like 25 million people on the system, and then as you do your demographic selects, it shows you how many people are in the bucket, and it's really helpful as a marketer, because you may have gone too far and there's 106 people in that bucket, and the next impression you're going to get is 3 months from now. So you back off and you say, okay, I want a bigger group. So that's a fascinating aspect of it. How about, I'll ask the affiliates about this one, the stats and reporting capability. How's that work for you guys?
For me, it's great because we divide out our landing pages by ad and by demographic, so we can take those reports and mix them with our own internal data. A few times we see some interesting things with the geo-targeting stuff. Just a few strays, not too many, but that data is the click-through ratio per age group. I mean, you can just, because obviously if I do a huge buy, and just target all people, it kind of shows me, and I can kind of narrow it down. So I love the reporting. I guess the point I'm getting at is, unlike a lot of other networks as far as statistics goes, they actually help you get your CTR more focused, because it says women in this group, are more likely to click on your thing in this state, right? So you can really, they help you get your ad spend even lower and more targeted.
Zach?
It's also great in the ads reporting where you can download stats and see what interests people that are clicking your ads. You can see other interests, so you can then make a whole new separate ad group targeting to people that you already know are clicking your ads. And as for other stats, I might like to see easier reports on billing, or like a monthly status that you can pull up by month, just to see what you're doing versus the previous month, instead of having to have typed dates.
Yeah, I agree. I think the statistics and reporting will get better probably with time. It's challenging sometimes to dig out the exact stats that you need, and it can take some time. This thing about you're getting information on who's clicking on the ads. One strategy I think some affiliates are using is they'll start broader from a demographic standpoint and then study the reports and then narrow in on those groups that seem to be responding more. And that's a unique capability with Facebook.
I think that's a good point too, because a lot of times you might be missing a demographic that actually could convert to you. So like with those reports, you can kind of use that data in your other marketing as well.
Yeah, because you have preconceived notions of here's the people that are going to respond, but you don't really know. And if you cast the net wide, there might be some interesting surprises in there. What about, so Facebook pay-per-click ads allow a photo in them. So there's a photo in the ad and then there's text, and that's something unusual. What have you guys found related to the photo?
It's been very interesting for us. Like I said, we've done a lot for local car dealership, local dentist. Dr. David Klein, who's in the front here, is a chiropractor in San Diego. I'm going to work with him on driving some leads to his practice. Using photos, we found it's very interesting because with like the teeth whitening thing, we've used staff members in photos. We've used the dentist himself in photos, smiling, looking serious, and it's amazing like which ones convert better to different demographics. It's like not just a one thing fits all.
Yeah.
So, again, hitting the targeting. But to get more to your question, I think that it's good because it really takes the best of both worlds. So you have the kind of contextual looking text, ad mixed with, the obvious image, not quite banner, but that kind of look. I think it's a great system.
How big of a click-through rate difference do you see from one photo to the next, Shu?
Oh, it can be rather significant. Like I'm talking, 5 to 10% difference. And then, like I said, it's demographic. So like we find that younger women like the more friendly looking dentist, where like older women like the more serious, kind of like that. And then it's very interesting to see, and that kind of data is beautiful because you can take that and then put it into their other campaigns, whether it's print advertising or whatever, because they go with a serious look in their newspaper ad, or something like that. So
I had a campaign where I was targeting moms that have had a baby recently, and it was like had a baby recently or something, and so I had a photo in there, and I had a really low click-through rate. And we should say click-through rates. Alex talked about demand generation direct response. That leads to much lower click-through rates than you're used to in AdWords. So AdWords you might see at 1%, 2%, 7%, whatever. Here you're going to see 0.1%, 0.06%, 0.13%, much lower click-through rates. So I had a picture of a baby in the ad, and I was getting this low click-through rate, and then I realized that's not a newborn. That's like a 2-year-old or, like a 1-year-old. And so I switched to a picture of like handing this newborn to the mom, and the click-through rate tripled with that photo change. So it was like that clicked with the audience that I was going after. Amazing impact on changing the photo. Zach, do you want to say anything about photos?
Just basically, you never know what people are going to click on. So if you're going to start a new campaign, just don't leave it at one image and throw 10 up there, and you'll be surprised what people are clicking on more than others. And it might be saving you half the cost in CPC costs.
So I get to see all the data. I was surprised based on all of my years of internet marketing. I thought that the photo would be the #1 factor and totally over-dominate everything else. Turns out the text is really important too. We're finding people are definitely reading that text below the headline and reading the headline. So, it surprised me that the photo wasn't completely dominant, but these examples are great. Photos are probably the #1 factor if you get it right.
Alex, do you think it's going to get easier to do testing in the future? Because it's kind of laborious. You add another ad with a different subject line, and then that subject line, you add 3 more with different photos, and then that photo, you add 5 more body. You just sort of add, it's laborious to test. Are you guys thinking about making it easier for testing?
I can tell you for a fact. So my team is actually the biggest spenders on the Facebook ads platform, so we suffer this difficulty very, very personally. It is definitely on our roadmap. It's a question of how we prioritize the resources, and if we keep on having to prioritize, we are a very small company still, 150 million active users, 800 employees. It is really, we're kind of the biggest startup out there, but we are really still startup phase. We're still a very small company relative to what we have to do, and it's a pretty complex project to maintain. So if we're spending our time on fixing and combating black hat techniques, we're going to be spending less time on making the product better for advertisers. So it's on the roadmap. I'm hoping it'll come.
Okay.
I want it badly.
So we'll open up the microphone in just a minute or two for the audience. Let's just finish a couple more of these. Is anyone attaching social actions to your ad? Facebook lets you do this thing where you attach social actions. You guys doing that? I have not tried that.
So let me comment on that one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Really hard to generate those social actions. Obviously, we made a mistake with Beacon, and we very publicly said that. But
can you explain what it means to attach a social action to an ad?
So if you have, say, a Facebook application or a group on Facebook or an event on Facebook that people join, you can use the fact that people have joined that event to attach, hey, David Klein is attending Affiliate Summit West. Why don't you sign up for Affiliate Summit East? That would be a completely reasonable ad to run. And when you do that, we see a really significant uptick in click-through rate because you get a picture of one of your friends who is actually doing that action that the ad is tied to, and it definitely drives uptick.
I always see Alex show up in one of my ads. Alex has joined a Facebook advertising group or whatever.
I mean, we definitely eat the dog food on that one.
So for me, I could do Nebraska Cornhuskers football is all we have in Nebraska, sports-wise, right? So I mean, I could target people that are fans of those groups. Interesting.
But you'd have to own the group or the event
okay.
to be able to attach those social actions. So you could do an event, Nebraska's playing a big team or whatever, get everyone to say, oh, I'm attending that, and then you can start using that to leverage it into social actions that get you higher click-through rate.
Okay, let's go ahead and open it up to audience members. Do we have someone that's going to walk the microphone around?
I think it's the
Yes,
TQs.
okay. So please raise your hand and we'll bring a microphone to you.
Could I just add something real quick? I just wanted to add.
Yeah, go ahead, Shu.
I just want to say, I think it's really important. I talked about a marketing balance earlier. I mean, we've never seen anything convert as well as Facebook. Your CTR may be low and you got to work that line out. But once people do click on the ad, especially on the local stuff that we're seeing 70 to 80% of the people fill out the offer, which is just to give the information to the local dentist, which then they follow up with them. Wow. I mean, that is insane. That's an insane. And also with the local car dealership that we just did a test with. I mean, we're so confident in doing these local things that we're willing to do it for free for them just to show them how insanely hot it is, and then they're just ready to pull a lot of their other budgets and go into this stuff. So, I mean, right now, you'll never see conversions like you can see based on the targeting and stuff like that. So I just want to say that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Could we get help with the mic?
You guys can queue up against those 2 mics as well. Those 2 mics are live, so if people want to queue, those 2 mics that are standing in the aisles, maybe we can do that.
She has one of them. Let's try the other mic to see if that's live. They're actually videotaping, so they need you to talk into one of the mics. Could someone try that mic right there to see if
That's my
that sounds live?
Hello.
Okay, we got this one too.
Awesome.
Okay, go ahead in the front row.
Yeah, hi, I'm Alex Bruden. I had a question for Shu and Zach. So we're talking about the Facebook advertising here. Do you also consider using third parties that have an ad network on Facebook? And then, so what are your considerations around that?
I assume you're referring to Facebook application type of advertising?
Yeah, exactly. Like I think there's, obviously Slide has it. There's SGN.
Right, I've
social
tried some
media
of
network.
that,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen the type of conversions, and it usually, most of those programs kind of incentivize the user to click the ads or to sign up to them so they get more credits or whatever. So I've seen better conversions and overall numbers with testing straight through regular Facebook ads.
Yeah, I would kind of echo that. I did a very, very small on a national campaign level, which I've been pretty unsuccessful with that, but I haven't really given it a good go, to be honest. We've had so much success on a local level, and that just doesn't apply to that. But something I was hoping that Alex could maybe touch on is what Zach brought up was the virtual currencies that you're seeing. I mean, you're seeing a lot of people trying to build applications around these virtual currencies that are making an enormous amount of money right now. And so I don't know if that's something that eventually Facebook would like to tap into or provide a marketplace themselves to where these they could have offers these guys can tie into.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not close to anything like that we're doing. Obviously, there are companies, very famously in China, who are huge companies based off the back of those virtual currencies. So it's a good trend for you to be spotting. And if anyone has any ideas around the area, you should totally consider giving it a go.
Okay, next question. We'll go over to the mic here.
Yeah, hi, Eric Lundberg, and this probably is more of a question for Alex, and I actually have just three real quick, short questions. So Facebook started out more in the college market, so could you give us just a brief overview about your demographics now? Have you broadened up? Second question for the text ads, the CPC text ads. So is it not really a quality score, and it's not just CPC bid? It really is based, on effective CPM, where it's CTR by CPC. And just a little bit about how does that work when you first create an ad? Does it just kind of, do a little bit what Google does and project an average CPC and project an average click-through rate, and then get a suggested bid, and then once you run for a while and you actually have the click-through rate, then you get that. And then just the third question is, it's a little confusing when you're creating an ad. There's no place for a display URL, which you have obviously in Yahoo and Google. And I talked to one of your staff yesterday, and I think they were saying what you do is when you first sign up and put in your ad, that display URL you show, that's the display URL versus the tracking URL. So anyway, those were the three quick questions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Alex?
I can crank through those. They're very standard questions. College versus now, we are fastest growing is over 25. We are 70% non-US, and we started US college only. Fastest demographic last week was 45-year-old women in Italy. We are well outside of the college brackets. You can go to facebook.com/ads, click through to create, and you can play around with it yourself. But I'm kind of bored with that question now. Facebook isn't a college network. There aren't 150 million people in college right now. Text ads, really, really good question. Yes, we do exactly what you described. We estimate based on the demographics you're targeting what the likely click-through rate is going to be. We then calculate based on your bid what the eCPM you're going to get is, and over time we get better at predicting what the eCPM of your ad is. I am sure that we have a lot of opportunity in that space to do even better over time, but that's how we're working right now. There is a small quality score element that comes into it at the moment based on the number of people who are thumbs up and thumbs down in your ad, but at the moment we're still playing around with that stuff to work out how to do it best, but ideally we get good at quality score in time so that we can have less hassle with the ad review, which I'm sure all of you would be happy about. And then the last one, the display URL. Whenever you create an ad, if you click point this to a website, you get a display URL, not display URL, sorry, a linking URL option there. You're right, that's confusing. Product feedback, we're definitely taking back this week. We'll see if we can do something about it.
Okay, gentleman right here. Next question.
Great. You mentioned something earlier about an API. Are you also thinking about basically an AdWords editor equivalent? No, if you're a national advertiser, but you want to target local, but you want to do all the testing that you guys were talking about, you end up with pages and pages and pages of ads. And if you want to tweak them, it gets very difficult. So is that on your roadmap to be able to download, upload, change bids?
So could someone at the back stick their hand up if they could hear that? No one's sticking their hand up. The question was,
basically AdWords editor. Are you going to have one?
are we going to launch an API and an AdWords editor type thing and bulk upload? Yes, we will. I guarantee you at some point in the future we will, create all of those functionalities. It's on our roadmap right now. It's going to be a prioritization question, so I can't give you a timeline to when we'll do it, but you're totally right. I mean, the interface is great, I think, but it definitely doesn't scale very well to 10,000 ads live at any one time. So it's feedback we do know, and we actually have a first little test API we're playing around with right now, so hopefully we will have something for you guys definitely by this time next year, but we'll see.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, my name is Chris Calvi, and this question is for Alex. When creating an ad, the interests, are they and or ors in between? Because sometimes I'll add extra interests in there, and I actually see the number of available users decrease. And I wasn't sure if that's because they're ands, like because I'm making it more complicated, or I'm just kind of confused on that and wonder if you could probably...
correct me if I'm wrong, everyone, but it's and, right? Yeah, it's and.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next question.
Well, I have a quick question for Alex first. My name is Jan. I'm from Yahoo. I do mainly PPC. I've been wondering a little bit about exactly how Facebook does targeting in terms of groups. Like, do you have to be a member of a group in order for Facebook to find you? Like, if you like running, does the person have to be a member of a running group? You probably can't tell us about your trade secrets, but exactly how Facebook finds out what people are interested in. And second, just quickly for the advertisers, if you've used other similar networks like the LinkedIn, which I think has more professionals, and other sites that are more popular in other countries, like Friendster, I think is dominant still in some places in Asia, if you've used those websites.
Okay, Alex, you want to start on that?
Yeah. So it's a combination of factors. Initially, it was just the interest that you entered on your profile when you signed up. Over time, we've started to include the groups you're a member of and the pages you're a fan of on Facebook. The exact details are pretty boring, but yeah, if you type in, say, Apple, you'll get everyone who's in the Apple students group, as well as everyone who's written Apple in their profile, as well as, blah, 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 blah. If you type in, it's quite fun, if you type in movie titles, often because movies promote themselves on Facebook, you'll find that people who are fans of the new Star Trek movie, you'll be able to target them because they've joined that page, they've found that page.
So how about Zach and Shu? Have you guys done any advertising on other social networks in the U.S. or outside the U.S.?
Mainly just MySpace and Facebook.
Okay, Shu.
Yeah, MySpace they're going through a lot of growing pains. I mean, they're even newer, than you guys. So they're going through a lot of pains and a lot of, I would say it's even far more frustrating currently on MySpace to get advertising approved. I've pretty much all but given up on a lot of it. I am a huge fan of that suggestion, like I just talked about earlier, where you guys actually say, we don't like this one, but this one we like, because the most frustrating thing to me is when I get back something that says, denied, reason, other. And we're like, what does that tell you, right? That is the most frustrating thing to me in the world. So, by getting feedback that was like, your ad got denied because you had X, or like, here, we'll fix your typos because you can't spell. And that was perfect for me, And I mean, you guys kind of do go against the grain with, like Google, wants you to capitalize every letter, in the ad for best conversion. And you guys, you don't allow that. You're kind of anal about the way you want people to actually form real sentences and real sentence structure, which is cool, but it's a little different, So I like how you actually will do it for the person. I don't know how big you're testing that right now, but I mean, I think that's brilliant. So otherwise, to answer your question about LinkedIn, I personally am not a huge fan of LinkedIn, because I haven't really looked for a job for a long time. But I know, and it seems like also the biggest thing with Facebook is how much people use it. Like, people are in there all the time. They're just, crazy. My wife just got on there and is starting to stalk me already. But so she, the whole thing is basically like, with LinkedIn, you see somebody use it, and then maybe they use it to get a contact, and they don't use it for another 6 months. So I don't know that and it's definitely not a good way for me to target local people on the things that we're doing, and the offers that we do. I don't know affiliate-wise that LinkedIn will ever have a big for their ad thing. I could see for big brands and stuff like that probably, but not in the affiliate space. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay, next question in the back, and then we'll come over here next.
My name is Roy Weissman. I know it was mentioned that on Facebook, the click-through rates tend to be lower because it's not direct search. I'd appreciate if all the panelists would address what they consider to be a good click-through rate and what they would consider to be, forget it, this isn't happening. And if Alex could especially address in determining your click price, how the system addresses good versus bad.
Zach, you want to start out on what's a good click-through rate, what's a bad click-through rate?
I've had some campaigns get a 1% click-through rate, which is extremely well, but the majority is probably around 20% of 1% of a click. So it's really a lot of testing, and it depends how tight your niche market is, because if you're extremely tight on it, you can achieve almost a 1% click-through rate once you know that people are clicking it, and then just keep improving your ads to see which one people's like. So 1% is obtainable.
Zach? I'm sorry, Shu?
Yeah, I mean, 1% is very good. I mean, that's supreme. I think if you can get out of 100 page views, if somebody sees your ad, they're clicking on it, that's awesome. Especially as how out of the way these ads are. They're not like straight this huge chunk of ad right in the middle of the content. It's like over on the side. So somebody is genuinely interested when they click, and I think that's also why the conversions are so high. So.
Yeah, similar here. I'd say 0.2% is good. 0.05% is bad, 0.04%, those are really low.
I agree with them. The only thing I'd add is unique user click-through rate on our site is definitely in the higher percentages. What we have is 40, 50, I don't know, 100. I don't know the numbers, but we have lots of page views per user. They don't come in and look at one page and then leave instantly like they do with search. So I think that's the other reason that click-through rates are low that people quite often overlook. If it were possible to think about unique user click-through rate to yourself and realize that that's kind of what you need to compare on, that'll explain in your head why our click-through rates are lower, because our users view a lot more pages and a lot more ads on our site.
Okay, thank you. Next question.
Yeah, I'm very curious, Alex. You have a lot of experience with affiliate marketing and arbitrage. Let's say if you had a budget of $10,000 and knowing what you know on Facebook, what would you recommend particular strategy? I mean, you don't have to give me details. I'm not asking you details, but what kind of particular general strategy would you give an affiliate for Facebook? Thank you.
That's excellent. I think if I was to be doing it today, I'd be doing dating and weight loss, like everyone else. Bluntly, that's not the PC or the company answer, because it's not desperately good for the user. But I think that Shu's actually got a really good point with the local stuff. So if I wanted to build a long-term business that was going to be sustainable, not faddish, I didn't have to change it every 5 seconds, I would be focusing on local very, very heavily. I have one great example. There's a restaurant in Canada that launched via Facebook. It didn't do any other marketing for its new launch. All it did was promote itself via Facebook, and it's hugely successful. I have no end of examples of local businesses who've done really well with Facebook, a combination of having a Facebook page to have fans with whom they can communicate and ads to promote their restaurant or business.
And if you wanted to make money fast?
I think, these guys that are getting ads approved for the weight loss stuff, I mean, I've heard incredible stories of profitability. So, I mean, if you're looking to make money very quick, I mean, that's the hot thing right now is the weight loss and this. I mean, they're a little scammy, but I mean, that's up to you ethically, I mean, if you want to do that.
Just one other question. Would you recommend, as an affiliate, would you recommend submitting tons of ads? I mean, is that kind of the strategy that you want affiliates to do? I mean, I'm just telling you because you require us to resubmit so many times, so it's almost like you're encouraging us to submit so many times.
100% agree with you. Knowing what I know about where we're going, I really would suggest you don't do that, because we're going to make your life really painful.
And
so
I know
don't do that.
It is frustrating. You have to go slow, and then for each one, like you get the rejection notice, and it'll say, read sections 4, 6, and 11 in the rules, and you have a violation, but it doesn't tell you you need to do exactly X in order to get it. But I would go slow and understand, and then once you understand and get one approved, then you can go big. But I would not blast them with 100 ads and have all 100 rejected.
It's the same as anything. If you want to make a lot of money fast, be a bastard. Right? Fuck around with us. Like, it's not. That's the way that you succeed on Google. That's the way that SEO black hats do it all the time. Spam the front page of Dig, spam the front page of Propeller, Buzz. You can do that stuff. but you're not going to build yourself a long-term sustainable business. You're going to find one day that you're caught with your pants down because you've spent 10 grand and you suddenly don't get anything. Like, it's up to you. If you want to make money fast, genuinely, the best way to do it is by being scammy and spammy. If you want to sustain a good business and have a good relationship with us and have a long-term stream of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year of income, which I believe is very possible with our system, partner with us and go the long-term route. Think about what Shu's doing. Like, these guys have been very successful for years. All three of these guys, you know, I've just met Zach recently, but I've known both of these guys for many years. And they've done it through building long-term sustainable businesses that are churning off a lot of money regularly. And you can do that. You really can. There's huge opportunity in our system right now.
Thank you.
Thanks for the questions. Please raise your hand if you have another question, and I'll kick one off from the, we have about 10 more minutes. I'll kick one off in the meantime. So Alex, why does my ad get rejected when I go on Facebook and see someone else running the same ad for the same offer?
That's an excellent question. The main reason is typically that we've had that other ad mass submitted, and in the end, you know, we've got a team working at this, but everyone makes mistakes. You click the wrong button by accident or whatever. You know, 99%, 99.9% stability in us being able to approve the right ads and disapprove the wrong ads is pretty good. But we make the odd slip, and then when one of those ads that has relatively inappropriate content gets through, but it's pretty provocative, draws the eye and makes people click, it's gonna, because our system automates based on click-through rate times CPC, it's gonna get very high up the list, and so lots of people are gonna see it very, very quickly.
Do you guys look at high-spending ads that are doing well to see if, hey, is something weird going on there? Is it a violation?
This is exactly why people are complaining at us, because they get an ad approved and then, you know, a day down the line it gets disapproved, because we do that.
Okay. Another question right here in the front.
Stand over here, you can't quite see me, or I can't see you. Hi, I'm Mari Smith. You may or may not know who I am. Yes? Oh, good. I love it when Alex is shaking his head, nodding his head. I teach people how to use Facebook to market their business. And part of what I teach them is to use the ads. And I love Facebook ads. One of the reasons, they have 6 different types, and you can interact with them. And I'm always, because part of what I teach my clients is to interact with those ads. So I love that people buy the ads with the social actions. Like, I gave away a ton of Ben & Jerry's ice creams on election day, and people were saying to me, Mari, I keep seeing you all over my stream. And I was delighted about that. So that part I really love. And my question is about the pages. I love the pages too. I'm always getting people to set up their fan pages for the more visibility and more presence. But even recently there was a change made, and you have to click on advertising at the very bottom and then go up to the top, and now it's even more buried, because it used to be pick an ad or pick a page. Any chance of making that even more obvious of how to set up a page?
My original job at Facebook, I was one of the 2 business product managers on the Pages product. It's a great product. We have hundreds of thousands of active small businesses using that product right now. I think that we're working on iterations on it, and my group's responsibility is to promote the product better. So feedback taken, I will look into what we can do. I'll be honest, I am very ROI focused, like all of you guys in the room, and right now we make the most money by pushing people to buy ads, and that's where my focus for my limited team has been. But I do hear what you're saying about pages and needing to promote them.
Right, because I could probably get people to buy more ads if I said go to facebook.com/pages, they set up their page, and then they buy the ad.
That's
right.
very fair.
Are you from England, by the way?
I can tell you the numbers on it, but I won't.
Are you from England?
I'm from England originally,
Cool,
yes.
I'm from Scotland. Go Britain.
So Zach and Shu, do you guys send any ads to pages on Facebook, or is it all off-site?
It's all off-site.
Yeah, I haven't. There's actually a Shoe Money fan club that I didn't start, and so it was funny. We've actually got that under control now. But one thing I just wanted to touch on, the gentleman who's up there talking about ads, and we talked about mass making ads and all that scammy stuff. You know, the one thing is, when you get frustrated, the one thing I really like about the Facebook group is the communication. So a lot of times they'll write, I've been written to many times by many people in your team, and I'm not a huge spender. You know, we do a lot of local stuff, maybe $500 to $1,000 a week. You know, nothing. I'm sure on your scale that's very small. But I've gotten a lot of people, you know, contacting me, just random people who have no clue who I am or my blog or anything, that are just like, you know, hey, you know, can I help you? You know, you have questions about ads, blah blah. And I'll say, you know, this one keeps getting disproved, and it's really frustrating me. Can you? And they'll look at it and they'll let you know. So I mean, I think communication is key, and you also set a great rapport. So down the line, I suspect you guys will have something in place where you'll have a strike system. So people start, like you talk about, making their life hell. I mean, I think eventually the more goodwill and willingness to work with the team that you can show in your, I don't know if you guys keep communication, but I mean, I think it'll help you in the future when you're not doing the fly-by-night stuff. So
a good rule of thumb is if you're scared to talk to us about why your ad's been disapproved, then probably it should have been disapproved.
Okay, next question, Todd.
Yeah, I was wondering, it seems like Facebook is kind of like, the new Google. Back in '02, it was, I mean, for affiliate opportunity, it's a great new point of, reaching people, and everybody's jumping into it. And you think back in '02, Google buying keywords, it's pretty much the wild, wild west, and a lot of controls have come into place. Advertisers started wanting to kind of regain control of their brand and their marketing. What's happening now? I mean, when you guys buy ads, are you getting permission from the advertiser to put their brands on Facebook, or sometimes they know, sometimes they don't? And where's this kind of headed from Facebook's perspective with the advertiser kind of saying it's my brand?
So I actually have personal experience with that with a social network, because someone was using a photo of me, which is somewhat popular with an AdSense check, and saying that I was using this particular program, and it was a total scam job. And so we actually took legal action against that and had to get subpoena records and all that stuff. So I mean, like, you have to get permission. You can't just take. And as far as like trademark and stuff like that goes, a lot of there's been suits with people who have used Oprah's photo. I forget the Rachel Ray. She went after a ton of people who were using her photo. So you need to be really careful on what you promote and stuff like that, because it can come back on you. And yeah.
And also, there's a lot of distinction between social networking traffic versus search traffic. So a lot of the CPA networks will have offers that are specifically built for social networks, and they'll be clearly marked. So they might pay a different commission, but that's because that company in the long run knows that the people from Facebook or MySpace will either be around longer or shorter, or they might be less likely to use a credit card. So there are distinctions being made on the advertising networks for social advertising versus search.
And that's a great point, because a lot of times these companies, they will have specific guidelines. Like, this is allowed, this is not allowed. You can't use this, you can use this. And like what Zach said, a lot of times you find things that you can't incentivize through search and stuff like that, you can incentivize through social stuff, with the affiliate companies, because they know that traffic converts at a higher level. So
I think it's a good question from the merchant perspective. How do you control your brand? What photos are your affiliates using? Can they just grab photos from your site? Do they have to get your permission? Can they just go on the internet? There's all kinds of new issues that come up with this.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say the most interesting trend for me is back when I was an affiliate manager, really early days of Facebook. MySpace was very big, and eBay wouldn't let people run ads on Facebook for a while, and a lot of other companies wouldn't at that time. And that has changed significantly. A lot of big companies now do let you run ads on Facebook, and they're not so het up about what content your ad may appear next to. So that's the trend that I'm seeing. And I go back to what Shu said. There is a opportunity gap right now. I agree with you that in the end, the big companies, if you guys really succeed with Facebook ads, the same way as happened with Google ads, some of the big companies will come in and do it directly. But there's an opportunity gap right now, and those guys aren't going to move very quickly, and you have a few years of really good times ahead of you if you are one of the people who makes it big.
You've really seen it with every ad network that's ever launched, ever, whether it was Yahoo, whether it was Google, and I guess Microsoft was the big one before the social networks when they did their ad platform. I mean, I wrote about it pretty extensively. We were getting nickel clicks converting to $12 offers. I mean, the ROI on that was just crazy. And there's a huge market imbalance at that time, much like there is right now on Facebook. But the thing is you have to go through the growing pains, and I mean, that's the dip, right? Is that you have to be willing to go through the frustrations, just like they are. You have to be that guy on the other end who's willing to work with them to get yourself approved and to figure it out. But if you can, the rewards are huge, because eventually there will be straight up perfect documentation. The ad system will be perfect. But like Alex said, these companies with huge budgets who see the value now are going to completely saturate the marketplace. And most of us, our margins just went to crap. So, I mean, I think it's there right now. And the more you can educate yourself right now and get after it, you should. because the market will correct itself.
Yeah, there's a question coming from Twitter. Somebody wanted to know if there's a way with Facebook. She wanted to know ways that she could promote nonprofit global hug tour. If there's any free ways on Twitter, they're flying around the world, hugging 100,000 people, and picking up pearls of wisdom along the way in a small prop plane.
Cool.
She's looking for ways to promote it for free.
A page on Facebook would be free.
A Facebook page is a really good way to do it, and if you have got something like that that's very viral, Causes application is great for that kind of thing. So if you haven't experienced it, apps.facebook.com/causes, those guys are great at that kind of thing. Grassroots, anything like that that's really viral, a combination of events for when they're landing in the country, pages to be a fan of theirs, and then using the Causes application to drive virality. Causes have optimized tremendously for that stuff for non-profit. That will be the winning formula. But yeah, I mean, right now we're seeing there are only 2 great apps using the Great App program that Facebook has set up. One of them is Causes, and we're seeing huge success for non-profits using Causes.
Okay. Somebody Twitter the answer.
Okay, we're out of time. Please join me in thanking the panel.
Yeah.